All right, the purpose of this video is how to import data into Odoo. So this is going to cover all of the basics, and what we're going to look at for an agenda is, first off, how to map fields. So you probably have information in your existing software or on an Excel sheet today. You want to understand, how do I not only just move that information into Odoo, but how do I put it in the right spot? And we're going to study a little bit about that today. Second thing is we're going to look at how to actually construct a template. So we're going to go over with a blank Excel or CSV file, show you how to build columns, how to organize information, things like that. Then we're going to look at how to actually go through the import process to populate and create those records. And then lastly, we're going to go over how to import custom fields. So without further, let's jump in. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do before you even start importing data into Odoo is to go to Settings and activate the developer mode. And once you do that, it's going to give you more of a technical view. So you're going to be able to see a lot of the back end information and things like that. You'll know you're in developer mode when this little bug icon has been activated. And then when you're done with this, to leave the developer tools, you just go there. I'm also going to disable those tours. So let's start with the basics. Let's import a product. Go to the record that you want to import. That's step one. Click on Create, open up a blank record, and this is going to show you all the details of this record. So rule one is anything underlined in bold. You see these little bold lines? This means that they're required fields. So you must have a value in those in order to import them. So if you get the name of this field, hover over it. Product name, you'll see field is name. And then you'll see here for product type, field equals type. Product category, catig_ID. And then I think the last one is responsible down here. The last required field is responsible_ID. And you'll see if you hover over any of these, such as sale_delay, or weight, or property stock production, or you can have any value here, such as these invoice_policy, and for a selection field, you're going to have to specify the value that is in the selection options below here. So ordered quantities or delivered quantities. Let's start with the basics, right? We have name. So if I go to my Excel sheet and I type in name here, we have catig ID, responsible, and type. Those are the four basics that are required. And then we could also do weight, and we could do sale delay, and we could also have, let's do a default code. And we'll let's give it a sale price, which is list_price, and a cost price, which is standard price. So we have list price and standard price. So that gives us a lot of different values. Let's start here. We can say test product 1, right? And we could have test product 2, test product 3, and we can have so on and so forth. There's many products as we want listed here. You could have thousands. And the category, we'll just have all, because that's the existing category that I have here. There were other options. You could put these other options, but I'm just going to keep it simple. Product type, storable product. And we know that responsible is Nicholas Kaczynski. So we'll have responsible is Nicholas. It has to match up exactly. Like I have close parentheses on KO, which is my work signature. And I'll populate that. And type, we have storable product. Right? Make sure all the spelling and everything aligns perfectly. Important. Weight, we'll just call it 0.12, 0.44, 1.44. Sale delay, 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. Right? Default code, 123 456 789. List priced, $100, $500, $1,000. Standard price, $1,250, $2,000, 100,000. Just like that. Now we can go to File, Download As, and actually push it out as a CSV. That's my preference. It could also be Excel. And go to the product page here where you see Import. And you just select Import, load your file. You'll see here the file I just downloaded. It'll bring it all in, all my values, right? You'll see up here the fields that it's going to drive them into. This is the mapping that we did. It automatically pulls those based on the values you select. If you want to change the field, you can always go in and change it. You'll see here you can track history during an import. You can defer a parent-child computation. The first row contains a labeled column. Sure. Advanced, so you can get more advanced here. And then formatting options, you can specify all those details up here. And I can do a test import. It'll tell me everything looks good. If it didn't, it would give me an error and it would tell me what went wrong. And all I can do is just click import, and there are my 3 products now in Odoo successfully. And I can open them up and see everything mapped correctly, sales price, cost price, and I can see all of that made its way into the system. Now, that is a very, very basic way for understanding how to bring information into the system at the parent level. What's important and where it gets more complex is when there's different relationships that must pre-exist in the system in order for information to be brought in. A simple example, in order to bring in a product, we had to have a category created. Odoo comes with predefined categories out of the box in any trial environment, so it's not an issue. But for instance, you cannot import bills of materials without products pre-existing in the system. You cannot import a manufacturing order without, well, you could, but you cannot have one with raw materials associated to it required to be consumed without first having products in the system, right? So you cannot import product variants without having value attributes and values pre-existing. So you start to see that, you know, in order to get more in depth with the importing, you have to understand the relationships that are in place and what needs to pre-exist in order to import a certain record type. Now that is, you know, what I'll call beyond the basics of importing, and today's the video today is designed to review with you the very fundamentals, to just show you how to map fields, how to build a template, how to import that in, and the last thing we're going to talk about is a custom field. Custom field is simple. What you'll do is you'll build your custom field, ideally with Odoo Studio. Create a field, we'll just create a text field for now. A text field, and we could even do a selection field. And we can add values. We call it step 1, step 2, step 3, right? Just irrelevant, but it's about the context and the structuring of the information more than it is about the actual story behind it. So for this, we can have, this will just be test field, we'll name it. And you'll see Odoo has the technical name x_studio_test_field. So this is the technical name we're going to write in our Excel sheet. And the same for this one. This is going to be, and we'll call it test field 1. It should be test field 1 is the technical name. And there it is. So if we go in here, you'll see there's some different options. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You don't even need to go that deep. You can just step out of Studio right now, hover over it, and it'll tell you here. X Studio test field, and then here you have X Studio test field 1 with our 3 selection options, 1, 2, or 3. Now, let's go back here and start from scratch. So let's do, I'm just going to go like this. Say hi mix product will be the name of this product, and then we're going to add some fields here. Studio test field and 1. And we'll have test field will be whatever I want, and this will be step 1. And then I can actually go in, download as my CSV, same process as before. Import, load the file, and import it in. And we'll see next product, and we'll see both of those fields automatically populated. Now, if you want to import products in and you want to not have duplicates, then what you have to do is you actually have to export the products out of the system, and you're going to see when you export them out of Odoo, you can pull something with it called an external ID. And where is it? Or just the ID. Let me find it. Here it is. So we'll do name and ID. Oh, this has a pretty, let's remove all and let's do name, ID, and we can just leave it at that. So I can go export file, and I'll have my file here. Now, when you're bringing products in for a second time, let's say I want to adjust the cost price on one of my products, I'm going to use, and I don't want to have a duplicate, I'm going to use the external ID to map it. So let's say on Nick's product, I want to update one of those fields. So what I can do is I can actually go in here, and I'm going to insert a column. Oops, it'll do it over there, which is fine. And I can put here the name of the ID. And if I actually go out, download as a CSV, and I go back, I should have done that. I should have actually made a change. I'll change this from step 1 to step 3. And I can download as a CSV, go to import, load my file, and now it did not create a new Nix product, but instead updated it to step 3 from step 1, because I used the ID in order to map it back to an existing product in the system. If I didn't use the ID, as you'll see here, let's delete this column, and I go to install it again, and I go to import, I now have 2 Nix products. So it's important to understand that. That's a very important functionality to know how to use when you're importing data, because you may not always get everything right on the first time, or if you want to make adjustments to pre-existing records in the system, then you should use the ID and not the product name. It's the ID that is going to allow you to call on an existing record in the system, and then it will allow you to manipulate data metadata associated with that specific record in the system, again, without duplicating it. So very important to know that. Okay, so that does it for today's demo. If you have any other questions or you want to get more in depth with how things work, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll be able to help you. Thanks so much and have a great day.